Hi guys! John, Jenny, Rivers, Remy, Mako too. I love you lots. So tonight I want to read you a book and it's called Curious George's First Day at School. I actually passed a store that was everything just Curious George and it was so cool. So on the cover, if you look at your book, it says, Curious George's First Day at School. Welcome to your first day at school. So, Rivers, maybe you can hold the book for Remy. So open it up and that's the cover page and it says Curious George's First Day of School. Now turn the page again. And you should see a picture of Curious George and his friend in the yellow suit. He has his lunchbox. I have my lunchbox too, just for this. So on that page I'm going to start reading. This is George. He was a good little monkey and always very curious. Today George was so excited he could barely eat his breakfast. You have a big day ahead of you, George, said his friend, the man with the yellow hat. Okay, turn the page. It was a big day for George. It was the first day of school, and he had been invited to be a special helper. George and his friend walked together to the schoolyard. Some of the children were nervous, but George could not wait for the fun to begin. In the classroom, George's friend introduced him to Mr. Apple. "Thank you for inviting George to school today," the man with the yellow hat said to the teacher. Then he waved goodbye. "Have a good day, George. I'll be back to pick you up after school." If you look in the picture on the chalkboard, it says, Mr. Apple says, "Welcome to your first day of school." Okay, let's turn the page. Oh, it says it there too. Mr. Apple says, "Welcome to the first day of school." Same picture. Okay, it says here, the children were excited to have a monkey in the class. Did you know Curious George was a monkey? Yes. "George is going to be our special helper," Mr. Apple told them. And what a helper he was. At story time, George held the book. At math time, the children could count on George. They counted his toes and his fingers. And at recess, George made sure everyone had a ball and a well-balanced snack. Look, all of them have lunch boxes like me. After lunch, Mr. Apple got out paints and brushes. George saw red, yellow, and blue paint. 3 colors were not very many. George was curious. Could he help make more colors? Look at George, look at all the colors. Okay, turn the page. First, George mixed red and blue to make purple. Next, George mixed red and yellow to make orange. Then, George mixed yellow and blue to make green. Finally, George mixed all of the colors to make, turn the page. Oh, look at everyone making the faces. A big mess. The children thought the mess was funny, but Mr. Apple did not. "Oh dear," he said, "we're going to need something to clean this up. Everybody, please sit quietly while I look." George did not mean to make such a mess, and he certainly did not want to sit quietly. He wanted to help. It was his job, after all. George had an idea. In the hallway, George found a closet. In the closet, he found a bucket. In the bucket, he found just what he needed. A mop! George was on his way back to the classroom when he heard someone yell, "Stop! Stop! What are you doing with my mop?" The janitor ran after George. "Stop! Stop! No running in the halls!" The principal ran after the janitor. But George was going too fast to stop. He grabbed the doorway, swung inside, and turn the page. Sploosh! The bucket tipped, the mop dropped, and George slid across the floor. Now the mess was even bigger. Mr. Apple looked surprised. The principal frowned, and the janitor just shook his head. And George, poor George, he felt terrible. Maybe he was not such a good helper after all. Did you turn the page? It should look like this, all the children. It's page 20 in the corner. The children felt terrible too. They did not like to see George looking so sad. They thought he was a great helper. Now they wanted to help him. So the children all lent a hand and some feet. Turn the page. And before anyone knew it, the mess was gone. "That little monkey sure is helpful," the janitor said. "It looks like Mr. Apple has a whole class full of helpers," the principal added. And at the end of the day, when George's friend arrived to pick him up, Mr. Apple said, "Thank you for all of your help, George. We hope you will come help us again." The children cheered. They hoped George would come again too. See, look, they're cheering with George. I would want a monkey to come back to my classroom too. Last page. George waved goodbye to his new friends. What a great day it had been. He could not wait to go back to school. See, and there he is, walking away with the man with the yellow hat. What a great story. All right, guys, good night. I hope you have your pajamas on. Go to the bathroom and make sure you go to sleep and get good sleep for school tomorrow. Love you. Bye.